June 6 is the 78th anniversary of D-Day, when soldiers landed on the shores of Normandy. The night before, paratroopers from the 101st Airborne parachuted in to help pave the way for the landing. Before they got to Nazi Germany, however, they first came here. This is historic Camp Claiborne near Forest Hill, Louisiana, where once 50,000 soldiers lived with their civilian counterparts and support staff. It may be hard to believe, but right back over there was the bus station and gymnasium, where it's now all overgrown. Douglas Rhodes is the executive director of the Southern Forest Heritage Museum, which preserves exhibits about the camp's role during the war.
They completed all of their physical fitness, basic infantry, all of those tactics were done here at Camp Claiborne.
The picture you see here is from a visit by Sergeant Dick York, the most decorated veteran of World War I, who came to the camp to address his former unit, the 82nd Infantry Division. It's hard to see it, but thousands upon thousands of soldiers were lined up right here, where now there's only woods.
So he came here to kind of give a pep talk to the troops. And of course, you had the governor of Louisiana there at the time, and Omar Bradley, the commander of the division.
Louisiana agriculture also played another role in World War II. The straight, longleaf pine trees were perfect for the keels of the Higgins boats, which brought the infantry that trained at Camp Claiborne ashore in Normandy. This is the old mill where those trees were processed.
They needed long, straight timbers for the keels of the landing craft. And so they put in an order with the Southern Forest Heritage Museum, and they furnished the keels for the boats that were being built in New Orleans, the landing craft that were being built in New Orleans.
Camp Claiborne was originally part of the U.S. Forest Service before itself being recruited in 1940. In fact, U.S. Forest Service firefighters trained Army paratroopers because of their experience in getting into remote areas to stop wildfires. Claiborne was returned to the U.S. Forest Service in 1945, and their battle to stop those wildfires continues to this day.
Part of that is the longleaf pine restoration effort. And so we've been doing that for several years, and part of that maintenance is doing prescribed burn. On our district, we burn about 50,000 acres a year. And so incorporated inside that, though, is a wildfire aspect. So when we're doing prescribed burn, some areas we may not get to, or during certain parts of the year, you have a tendency for wildfires to get out. So through a combination of prescribed burning and then trying to control wildfires, that's how we manage some of this land, in addition to things like cutting timber and just doing different ecosystem restoration efforts.
As you can see, there's very little left of historic Camp Claiborne. In fact, this road that I'm walking on is one of the few things original to that time. However, the soldiers that walked this hallowed ground went on to liberate Europe, forever preserving their sacrifice, as well as this corner of Louisiana, in history. Reporting from Camp Claiborne in Kisatchie National Forest, I'm Melancon. Now, while there's not much left of Camp Claiborne, there is a lot at the Southern Forest Heritage Museum nearby. Not only do they have a lot on Camp Claiborne and D-Day, but also on the birth of modern forestry, including a full working sawmill and old train engines. And Avery, this was it was the most fun for me to do this shoot. I mean, there were so many interests there, and I got a lot walking around the grounds of that museum, which is huge, by the way. I mean, an entire working sawmill it's not in operation anymore, but the grounds, all the equipment's still there. Some of those old engines are really just pieces of history. I mean, each one of them could be a museum piece by themselves. But standing there in that place, looking out at where 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 soldiers were assembled and where Patton spoke and all of these great history, and there's nothing but woods there.
It's amazing. But I know this kind of built into all your geekiness when it comes to history and that sort of thing, but that book you brought back was amazing as well.
Yeah, that was courtesy of one of the guys there, Douglas, who led me around, and he's one of the docents there at the museum. He also co-authored this book through USDA, and it's all about that history. Please, if you can, go to that museum and patronize them. It's just a wonderful exhibit there.
Well, I'm glad you gave us a taste of it. Thank you so much, Neil Melancon.